Hey everybody. Good
What's
to
up, y'all?
Sorry for the delay. Just having some quick little things I needed to take care of, and then we were ready to go. How are you, Taylor?
Oh, I'm okay. Just sorting out supply chain issues for the U.S.'s largest refugee camp for Afghan evacuees. So,
How's
yeah.
that going? When we spoke last week, you were telling us about the that you were going to be doing this refugee camp stuff. How's that been going?
Yeah, it's going great so far. I mean, I drove out on Friday, so got here and they put me to work. I'm now in charge of managing the activities warehouse. It's basically Santa's workshop. So all of the toys, games, snacks, different activity kits come to us. We process all of that, organize it in the warehouse, and then build, kits for ESL classes, for arts and crafts for the kids.
Wow.
We're doing what I call distraction kits for places like the incoming reception or medical areas, because you got kids that are waiting around in lines for a couple hours as they get processed or they get their vaccines or something like that and their medical paperwork. They're getting bored. They're causing trouble, So getting them a coloring book or a toy that medical holds onto that they can play with goes a long way. Also, snacks for the parents who are fainting sometimes as they got to
Oh my
draw blood and
goodness.
stuff like that. Yeah. So
Wow.
it's been a bit difficult here. Army's kind of learning what the aid workers have been telling them for a few weeks about how to
Yeah.
do these sorts of distributions. So hopefully that'll get sorted out. But we now have 6,000 people in the camp, about 40% children. So you're looking at, gosh, like 2,500 kids. There's going to be another 5,000 people showing up over the next 2 weeks. And we expect that to be about 40% children as well. So I get to play Santa Claus for the foreseeable
Wow.
future.
Taylor, that's amazing. That's amazing. And I'll bet it's super rewarding as well.
Yeah, it's good. I'm trying to figure out, it's nice that it's rewarding, but I told them they gotta pay me some money so I can afford to stay out here if they want to keep
Yeah, of course.
keep me
Of
out.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that's the best way to sustain this kind of work.
Well, for sure. And I mean, looking at, this being kind of the camp being organized by the military, it's really interesting because there are a lot of volunteers and aid workers that are really getting aid in for free, stretching their budgets, coming out here and working for free. And then you start to see on the Army side, like what the procurement lists and how much money they're spending on stuff. It's a little bit mismatched. So y'all call your
Yeah.
representatives and tell them aid workers can save the U.S. government a whole bunch of money. And we also need to keep it sustainable for us. But overall, everyone's working really well together.
That's good.
These are just interesting things that I get to see here, but no complaints, or any major problems that we're not working to address in a good way.
Awesome. Yeah, folks, if you're, well, like Taylor said, if you're in the US, call up your representatives. If you're outside and you want to help distribute aid, I'm going to put up the link to their open collective, where you'll find links to not only donate finances, but also donate code, donate time. You'll find their GitHub repo there, and please check out this project because it's doing remarkable work. And I got to tell you, some of my favorite work that I've been doing on a weekly basis for the last couple months. It's almost 4 now.
Yeah, time flies when
Yeah,
you're having fun, right?
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, from our end, plugging along, we're in our second week of Hacktoberfest now. We've been having a wonderful time. On Tuesday, we had a stream showing off what OSS Port is up to and how it works. If you're interested in OSS Port, check out the previous videos live here on Twitch. If you're watching on YouTube, they're on YouTube as well. I'll put up a link to OSS port, where what we're trying to do is make maintainership of open source projects a better place for maintainers at the forefront. I feel like a lot of these projects focus on contributors, which is fantastic. But what we're trying to do here is make life easier for maintainers, going
Well, I
beyond a
love
README.
it. Yeah, it's definitely the bottleneck for me is, I love working on open source tech, and that's really a important thing for what we do to power our supply chain to keep it manageable as we scale. But just the amount of effort as a maintainer that I can put in is limited. So if y'all want to get your Hacktober pull requests in, feel free, go to ossport.com, go look for Distribute Aid, and you can contribute to our new landing site. And that's what we show up on this stream here. Maybe you could even join us to get a PR in, and we can all review it together or something like that.
Absolutely.
And if you want to contribute to our shipment tracker, I believe you're doing that next week, right, Ramon?
Oh my goodness. Yes, yes, yes. Next week, we're kicking off our Hacktoberfest show. Hey, Quado. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming on today. Yeah. Where was I? Oh yeah, next week we're kicking off our Hacktoberfest show for Code C, which is called Let's Onboard Ramon. And the way it's going to work is every week we're going to get onboarded by a different project. What are we building today? Asks Quado. We are working on the landing page for Distribute Aid. Going to start on that in just a few moments. I hope you're excited because I certainly am. Yeah, so I'm going to get on board. We're going to onboard, use me as a sort of guinea pig to onboard me onto different open source projects every week. And our first is going to be next week with Maxime from Distribute Aid and CodeC showing me around the shipment tracker code base for Distribute Aid. We're going to have a longer 2-hour stream for that. And yeah, more as they come. So let's hop right into it, shall we? Shall I drive today, Taylor? And we can switch it around.
Yeah, if you want to start off driving, I am in a camper in the middle of a small town in Virginia. So
oh my goodness.
I'm tethering from my phone, which seems to be holding up okay. But if I do drop out for a second or something, I don't want to pause the show. So why don't you drive? I'll navigate, and we're hoping to wrap up this PR and get you one of your Hacktoberfest PRs in there and merged in, right?
Yeah, totally. Thank you for that. Super eager to get either. I think I'm either going to go for the tree or for the t-shirt. Like, you can pick whatever you'd like to have to donate as part of your Hacktoberfest journey. But without further ado, folks, if you want to check out the OSS port, I put the link in the chat, and you can see, for example, for the Distribute Aid landing page, we got 3 Hacktoberfest related issues. So come on down and check it out. We've added careful things here to go, as I said, beyond a README, right? So not just like, having an overview, let me just scroll down a little bit here. I'm going to go a little bit fast. I hope you folks don't mind. What we've also added, for example, is an overview of where the maintainers are, what kind of PR cadence is great, and really drive home the fact that we have mentorship and pairing available. I mean, essentially that's what we're doing here live on stream. Yeah, we're using Gitpod, so feel free to and I'm going to show you all Gitpod in just a second, as well as some learning links in there as well. But folks, if you're using this, put up your projects or looking for places to contribute to, let us know. This is all open source, so, have at it. So yeah, what were we working on, Taylor? I've got Gitpod running here. I hope the size is okay. I'm going to make it a touch bigger just in case. Yeah, I'll make it just a touch bigger. That looks good. So what we've been working on is the landing page for Distribute Aid. Now, specifically, we've got this banner here that we've been working on. And last week, just before we had to wrap up, we got dynamic data coming in. We got data coming in dynamically from Contentful via GraphQL, which was super exciting.
Yeah, so I think that we kind of built out the front end first. That's what we started with, right? And then that gave us a sense of the structure of what sort of data we needed. We found out that in Contentful and in the code base, it was already set up with these sections, right? So we have our page, You can add sections to a page, and then you can add content to sections. So we decided to make that banner a section, and then it has different content blocks, possibly in different orders. There could be an image and then some text. There could be some text and then an image. Maybe we want to do a graph or something on one of these, to show shipment impact stats or something like that. And so when we were hooking this up to Contentful, we set that up, and now we've added the text, right? We have a kind of a markdown entry in Contentful. That markdown gets converted to HTML and displayed on the screen here. So I think that maybe to start off with, Ramon, we commented out the hard-coded stuff we did. Would it make sense to show the viewers if we uncomment that on that page? Then we can kind of show them where we're at with the dynamic stuff and where we're trying to go to based on that hard-coded thing. I think it's going to be in source, and then templates, and then the main page template is what we're working on.
Correct. There
we go. So you can see on the dynamic side, based on the page sections on line 35 there, that's the GraphQL we're pulling down from Contentful, and then it loops through those using that map function on line 36 and calls this section component. The section component is kind of like a case switch. It'll say, what type of section are you? And then actually call the section that gets rendered, and it'll do the same thing for the content. Now I don't see the commented out part, so maybe we actually removed that.
I believe what we did, Taylor, could be wrong. Didn't we comment it out in the component itself?
Oh yeah, quite possibly.
So if I go to components, content, and page banner, there it is.
There we go. There we go.
Shall I go ahead and uncomment this?
Yeah, let's do that, and that way we can. Now it might all be in that one div there, so maybe it would make sense to have one div with just the children right on top. That's what we're working on dynamically, and then have a second div, based on that hard-coded stuff we were working on,
like this.
Probably
outside the flex box.
So on line 12, yeah. So we're going to want two flex boxes stacked on top of each other, basically.
Ah, gotcha. So I can go ahead and duplicate this line.
Exactly.
Close that div here. I don't know why that's giving me an error. We'll figure that out in a second. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of red.
It's probably because React expects a single element to be returned, so we might want to just wrap that all in a div.
Right.
Or yeah. Oh, you showed me this trick last time. You can just have that and an empty.
What are these called? I think they're called fragments.
Fragments. Yeah, that's really cool. So we don't pollute our markup just to make React work.
Exactly. So like for screen readers and for accessibility purposes, it's nicer on the user.
Yeah.
Cool. So and that's
On line 14, if we could just remove that inner div wrapping the children, now that we have the outer div set up.
Again, sorry?
On line 14, just removing that inner div you added.
Oh my goodness.
The wrap the children there. Yeah.
My bad. Okay. Of course.
There we go. Okay, awesome. So should we refresh, take a look at what this looks like visually, and then maybe run a code C so we can see how that dynamic is, do a recording, see how that dynamic content is getting pulled in?
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you. Let's do that. So if you're not familiar with it, this is Code C Recordings. This is our tool we're working on to help folks get a broad understanding of the flow of their data. So I'm just doing a refresh here, started the recording, and now I'm going to stop the recording. I thought I did. Ah, there we go. So here is our whole bunch of stuff. And there's our page banner. Is that the one we want to take a look at?
Yeah, that was the component that we were loading in. We might want to start a bit higher, though, to see how that page banner gets called, right? So let's
Sure
just
thing.
take a look at that overview. There's some carousel stuff. I'm looking for something related to, okay, so that's loading. So that's loading all the different components. And then when are
Oh,
we
yeah.
actually rendering them?
Oh, that's down here.
There we go. So it goes to the main page template. Um, Maybe
Oh,
let's take a
wow.
look at how the sections are mapped in there.
Sure. I did not know we were rendering console logs.
That's
That's
cool.
really cool. That's really
Uh,
cool.
Now, for folks watching this, these Codesy recordings, you actually don't need as many console logs as you might think, because you can see the data in this data
Mm,
flow and see the values for each of those variables. I know a lot of times that I like to use console logs just to spit out intermediary values or something like that and see what they are, but that'll just be handled by Codesy recordings. But it's very cool that they highlight that. You might say, hey, this is where I want to check it out. You can jump right to that point. It's visible in the Codesy recordings.
yeah.
Or if you wanted to, for example, do some sort of extra calculation, something like that, and log those, then that might be useful to do in a console log statement.
Absolutely.
Cool. So let's dive in and see the
Ah,
that section loop, right? We get all the data in at the top of this function, and then the page will have different sections, and that gets looped through, and those get rendered right there.
so where's the loop itself? Because we have the map here. Ah, that's for each of these. But I wanted to see that loop.
Well, it's that map, right? Is that,
Where's the map? Yeah.
yeah, on line 36, and then it looks like that's getting pulled down. Now, there's probably only one content element, like one section right now.
That's
So
it.
that might be why it's just a single function call getting rendered underneath rather than the thing that we can step through, which is always cool.
Awesome. So we can see here that, and there we can see what the section's content is. And there's a page banner.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
Nice.
Yeah. So now can we, on line 41 there, can we dive into a section and see how a section is rendered? Will it let us
Absolutely.
like jump to the next point in the rendering?
I think we might need to scroll down to where that section is rendered. I could be wrong.
Okay.
Let me just take a look real quick. There it is.
Yep. I'm going to put in a one of my famous feature requests for the Codesy dev team. So we're
Please.
looking at that map, and potentially there might be more sections that are rendered. And
Yeah.
then, I wanted to jump to the rendering of this section component. So now I'm not sure if there's like a loop, right, with multiple renderings of a section. It's going to have to jump to the right one later on in the data execution flow. But you have that really cool feature where for these loops, you can step through the loops.
Yeah.
And so basically, based on where I'm at in that loop, I just want to skip to, kind of drill down into that next function call, even if there's other things like the brand mark or the desktop navigation that we see here, that get executed before it. I don't care about those. I want to dive in based on the part of the code that I'm looking at.
Yeah. So even if there's one, you'd like to see that an indication that this is a loop. Did I understand that correctly?
It's more of like if you just scroll up a little bit here,
Sure.
let's go back to what we're looking at. So we're looking at the top of your screen on line 41 right there.
Here.
Yeah, I want to be able to like click that section tag, whether it's just
Ah,
one or wherever I'm at in the loop, and then jump to
where that
kind of the
execution.
data
Yeah.
flow for that specific section tag. Yeah,
Got it. All right.
yeah,
Making a note of this. Give me one sec.
there we go. Yeah, that way I don't have to scroll down and like, oh, which number was the section that had a problem, and kind of like count them out or something like that.
Yep. That makes sense to me.
That's what I love about Code C. Like it's a throw these random requests there, and then like the next stream a week later, it'll already be sorted. Hats off to your dev team.
Hats off to our development team. They're just incredible. Our engineers.
Yep.
Oh, okay. So we're in the section component now.
Mm-hmm.
And we can see grayed out is the code that's not running.
Which I love, by the way, because this is a big confusing thing. It's like, here are all the types of sections that we have, and then which one is this one, and then go execute it. So this just lets me skip through the grayed out stuff, and we see we're rendering a page banner. So that gets called. We can make sure that all of these specific inputs for that page banner are correct. And then, now we can show off. It might still be one for right now. Yeah, that inner part of the map.
Mm-hmm. Which is the content itself, which is Markdown.
Mm-hmm.
And
because we just have the text portion, that Markdown bit in there.
There it is.
I'm going to go ahead. Yep, there we go.
Cool. Sorry, I interrupted you, Taylor.
No, all good. I'm going to go try to add the image to Contentful. Right, we have that image as well. And do you want to show the audience, as we step into that content section, how that Markdown's getting rendered? Like, how is this content actually making it on the page?
Sure. You mean going from here to... No, I'm sorry. I'm not sure I understand what you mean.
Yeah, so if you just scroll down, like on line 52 right there, so we see this section has a case switch, and then it's looping through content in the section and rendering it. Can we go see how that content component works?
Oh, yeah, let's have a look at that. In fact, what we can do is scroll down here to the content component, and there we can see...
Easy.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I haven't...
Oh, you haven't seen this before?
I haven't been here yet, no. But immediately I understand what's going on. We're looking at, we're depending on what the contentful content is, it's rendering a different type of component, which in this case is going to return a content markdown. Wow, Taylor, this is so sophisticated. I'm mega impressed.
Just a bunch of nested case switch statements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see. And then, we render a content markdown component, and there's our HTML. Wow. Markdown HTML. And then we have our dangerously set inner HTML is equals to Markdown HTML. And there it is. And we can see what the Markdown HTML is, which is this. That's cool. Awesome. Yeah. So we can see all the way down what gets rendered there. And in fact, do I have React DevTools here? I wonder. It would appear that I don't. Well, if I had React DevTools here, I'd be able to see what those components are all the way down, which is pretty cool as well. Awesome. And of course, that's not the only part of it, because we're also doing that. Oops. We're also doing that page banner itself, where we are rendering those two flex boxes next to each other with the according content. And there we can see what the children is. And the children is what's getting passed down here as that HTML content, which Taylor is now adding an image to that, and we'll be able to render more than one child. Is that correct?
Exactly. So I am just uploading some new media here. I think I have to download that image locally. Give me 1 second.
No problem. Do you wanna do that live for the audience, or do you wanna?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. That way we can also show some contentful stuff as well, which is always fun.
Okay.
Go ahead and share your screen when you're ready.
For sure. Just give me a second.
Take your time. Take your time. Folks, by the way, this is a collaborative effort. So if you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have anything that you see like, hey, I think we can do that better if we do it this way, like, please feel free to chime in. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, 100% collaborative. I am not
Totally.
an expert in most of what I do, so I definitely rely on people that know more about this stuff than me to help me out along the way. It's very much
Absolutely.
appreciated.
This is a learning process for all of us.
Hmm.
So like please feel free, like if you're a Gatsby, Contentful, GraphQL, TypeScript expert, like feel free to collaborate as well. And this is all open source, by the way. So if you're taking a look at our code, V prevails, right? I have a high expertise in not knowing many things. That's my title as well.
Exactly right. Uh, yeah,
Oh, I see
so
here.
Contentful. Am I showing up now?
Yeah, you should be.
Awesome. Cool. So we found that this fit within our existing content model, and Ramon's kind of walked you through the code half. You'll see as I go to add the content for the home page, right? I select that page, that's our page model, and then I'm going to scroll down. Here is our page section. So you've
Mm.
seen how this works in the code. Now we're going to go add content to this structure on Contentful in our data model. So our section, our homepage banner section here, we can have multiple sections on the page. Right now, this is the existing markdown that you see displayed, and you can see that that's published. I was in the process of adding a homepage banner image. So we got the homepage banner description. Now we're going to upload the image.
Mhm.
And I need to go ahead and actually add that. So on the hard-coded bit, we just added this image directly to the repository. But we might want to change it. We might want to update it. Who knows? And the whole point of using Contentful in this way is to empower our admin and our operations team members to go in and make the changes they need to our landing site, but in a way that doesn't put the burden of developing the code or the designs on them, right? So
Yeah.
we're kind of this is a good middle ground between hard coding the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
And really leaving that in the hands of designers and developers versus pushing all of the work in the opposite direction using something like Wix or Squarespace, right? You
Yeah.
kind of lose a lot of that ability to go in and create a more finely crafted experience. Here, admin and operations can control the content, but development and design can really make sure that that experience is consistent and create really cool custom stuff that's coded up that this content fits into. So running over to Figma, this is the updated image here. You can see that we're highlighting a map of the world and just kind of rough indications of where some of our shipments are coming from or going to. So we
Mhm.
do a lot of shipping in Europe. I might add them to Askadot for Lebanon over there. And then we're starting to do some work in North America, in the US as well. So I'm going to select this image, and this is super cool on Figma here. I want to go up and choose the entire group, and then I can export it. And in this case, I'll want to export it as an SVG. So that way it's scalable without losing any image fidelity or quality here. So just double check the preview. That looks right. Nice
Nice.
transparent background. So we can have, in this case, the blue color behind it, but we might
Perfect.
want to change that. And let me go ahead and save that to my downloads here. So this will be the homepage banner image. Awesome. Okay. So that's good to go. Now I'll go back to Contentful and I just upload it here. It's going to ask me to add a new asset. So
Mm.
homepage banner image. And we're going to use the description on this asset as our alt text, Ramon. So that
Oh,
way, for
nice.
accessibility purposes, it's right here. So a stylized map of the world, highlighting some of the locations, distribute, aid, ships from or to. How's that sound? Would you add anything else to it?
Stylized map of the world highlighting some of the locations. from R2. No, I think this is
Kind of a
pretty
good
accurate.
overview. Yeah, I mean, this isn't a super detailed image.
Yeah.
Maybe we should say, you know, with concentrations in Europe and the United States or something like that.
Yeah, good idea.
Just
Let's add that.
location based. Yeah.
Chat, same goes to you. If you have any suggestions, like alt text, like writing good alt text is hard.
Hmm.
I find so like practice, and it takes a lot of practice, and it takes a lot of patience, and it takes a lot of putting yourself in a different trying to visualize things in a different perspective, and a lot of it
Absolutely.
comes from feedback.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely something, you know, I'm never offended with feedback around accessibility because it's hard for me to know exactly what other people experience when they're using these accessibility tools. But that's always something that I think we should all, as developers, be open to
Yeah.
continuously improving, just like we try to continuously refactor or continuously deploy, right?
I was gonna say, yeah, totally. Like it's one of those things where we're creating that, becoming emotionally attached to our code, and that's something we're taught very early in our careers. Not to become emotionally attached to our code. Be receptive to feedback. I think the same goes for implementations like accessibility implementations, and how things get missed out on. It happens, and it's an oversight that we work on.
Exactly. So I'm going to publish the image.
Nice.
Then I'm going to go back. So this was the asset in Contentful. They have a whole media tab because assets might be reused and you don't necessarily want to duplicate those images in your file system.
I see.
So now we'll go back to our actual image component here. So we see that that's popped up. That's what's being shown. And I just want to check if there's any additional settings or something. No, okay, so I should click on that if I wanted to go back to that asset. I'm going to publish this, and then I'm going to go back
I love
and
the way you sort of like pile it up on top, so you can breadcrumb your way back very easily.
exactly. And that way, if there were more content bits to add, now I'm back at our section for the homepage banner. I could go add more right here. In this case, there are probably a few more changes because the changes stack backwards. I'm just going to go back to our content and
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to see what has been changed, right? So we can see the homepage has been changed. Um, what else is going on there? We can see the homepage banner has been changed. Few other changes here that I'll leave for now because I wasn't involved with those.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just go ahead and publish the changes as a block. Now, Ramon, turning it
Yes.
back to you, we should be able to see the image show up along with that markdown text portion.
Perfect. Cool. So I will share my screen again and head back to our code base. We are going to have to restart the server because we made some um, contentful changes.
The content changed exactly. So in a production environment, this would automatically kick off a rebuild on Netlify, rebuild the static site, and then just serve up that static site. In this case, it's a little bit more manual because we don't necessarily want other people who are changing content, adding new content to interrupt our dev flow. So we're in control of it.
Oh,
But it does require us to restart that server.
that makes a lot of sense. I
Yeah.
like that.
It's a feature,
Uh,
not a bug.
and it's a helpful one too. So I will. Do you think it makes sense to go ahead and comment this out for now again?
I kind of want to leave them up there just to see side by side. So
Good
as we
call.
get into styling the dynamic content or the static content, which has been generated from Contentful, we can compare that to the actual static content that we created in the code base.
Good call. Cool. So let's see. Oh, wow. So immediately we can see the image.
Hmm.
Nice.
There we go.
Shall I go ahead and inspect, see what's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
Because we have, I see 3. No. Okay, I see our paragraph on the one side and our SVG with a um with a what are these called? Captions. With a
Oh
caption
yeah,
underneath.
yeah. It looks like it's using H3 there.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So
Cool.
that might be how the image content component is deciding to render things right now. We might need to add a flag at that component level, or it might have just been an accident where it's like, because it has a title, it's rendering that title, and there might be a way to just say, hey, give me the image with that Gatsby image component.
I see. The alt text worked, which is great. So yeah, we need would this be done at a contentful level, do you think?
I want to take a look at that image component. I think that's where we're going to find answers to these questions, just see what it's doing.
Ah, yes, because that comes from the content itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and that we would figure out actually with a code scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's do it. That'll help me get there quickly.
Well, that's the whole point I love about CodeC is like we don't have to look at the one file. We can look at the one file with that data right there and in the context of that execution flow. Because maybe we find out it's not the image, it's how we selected it from GraphQL, right? That's going to take you a
Yeah,
lot of time to kind of walk through file by file with code. It'll be a lot easier to see it with that data side by side.
and there it is.
There we go.
Content photo. Awesome. So we got a file, a title, and a description. We can see here. Where is file? Oh, the file is the file itself. The title is this, and the description is the alt text. From there it is. So if we have an image with the alt with the URL of the file, and the alt is the description, and we add to it. If we have a title, we add an H3 with the title.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like I could remove the title on that. You remember that media kind of asset portion?
Yeah.
Where we actually uploaded the image and there was that extra title field there and that description. So if I remove the title now, I kind of want to keep the title so that things are organized in Contentful, right? That's
Yeah.
good metadata to have for content editors, might not be necessary to display on the site. So I got two ideas for you here, Ramon. We could either have an explicit flag on the content photo component to turn on or off that title,
Yeah.
or we can make that dynamic and add that flag not to the media asset portion, but to the data model in Contentful. So that way, depending on what the content editors want, it could show that title or not. And I'm wondering what's the better approach here. Should we have that be controlled kind of by dev design and make sure that in every case on the banner, the photos don't have a title? Or is that something that might take a little bit more work to make flexible since we have to accommodate a title potentially, but have that flexibility built in from the start and let operations and admin control that from Contentful?
That is a good question. I'm also eager to see what the chat thinks. Myself, what immediately sprung to mind was doing it at a date. Like if we do it at a data level, right? If we do it at a contentful level, we would be giving up the ability to use an image. How can I put this? Use an image more than like if we use an image more than once. If we sometimes want to use the title and sometimes don't, that would force us to duplicate that image. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
We'd have to basically create a new, we could have the image as the asset, right? But we'd have
Right.
to make a new content photo element rather than just have that in multiple places. There would be one with a title and one without. And then
Yeah.
different sections or components could add that. Yeah.
Which would, in all fairness, turn into two separate components, titled photo and non-titled photo.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
That is
one way to
kind of
do it.
two different things. It's not like every time for every different photo, it's just one per option there. So it'd be
Yeah.
two max. Yeah.
That's
Hmm.
the that's what I'm thinking. If we do it at a component level, I mean, forgive me for not thinking well outside the box here, but we would still need to let, oh, looks like we lost, I don't know what's going on with StreamYard lately, but looks like the connection seems to have dropped. Sorry, give me 1 second, Taylor. Let me see if that's the case.
No,
No, we are still live. I don't know what happened there. Sorry about that. Um, where
is this
was
where
I?
everyone has to fasten their seatbelts in the middle of the stream? Like,
um, what was I saying? Oh yeah, how could we let the children know at this level what's going on there?
yeah, that's a really good point. So this is our page banner, and the section components are supposed to be kind of simple components, right? Just wrappers. Um, we might have to inspect the children and loop through them, and if there's like, you know, an image or something to be displayed, then then add that property, for example. So that might get a bit complicated. We could go back to the section component. And so we could move the logic from the section component that loops through to display the children here instead of in there.
Hmm.
So we see with the stack, we just want a stack of content and then we render the children inside of it. And the stack says, hey, just show my children. We go down to the page banner. We could say, hey, page banner, here are the children, and then go deal with them how you want to at this level.
Right. Not sure where to start doing that though. I'll admit.
Oh, if you go to the section component
Yeah.
and then scroll down, where's the page banner case here?
Oh, yes.
There we go.
Ah,
So I want to take a look at this approach. Um, so we could move this map basically out of here into the page banner, but does that actually solve our problem? We're returning a content section, right? And that's
mm-hmm.
where it chooses in that content section or in that content component if it's like which type of content it is and how to render it. Um, hmm. Would this be better solved if we wanted control over this at a data level rather than trying to change the kind of the controls here in the React
Mm,
components? We could basically say in our page banner component, let's see what sort of data we're getting and make the changes to that data.
right. Yeah, that makes sense because then so going back to the idea of having an image, like having an image tell us, right? If it's got a title or not, if the title is to be used or not. Did I understand that correctly?
Um, right. So that's definitely one approach, and I think that might be the easiest one. That's letting Contentful, like the content editors. What I'm talking about here, if we move lines 45 through 55, basically into our page banner,
Oh,
and
I
then
see.
we loop through rather than do that in the React portion, we say, hey, page banner, you're just getting a section, right? You're a section. Here's the section to render, and let the page banner go say section.content if you're an image, something like that, right?
Right. No,
Yeah.
I fully understand you now. My bad. So what we'll do here is take this, right? all of it as is, and move it into the page banner. That first. So we'll get the section, and that we won't be getting children anymore. But
Yep.
let me just do one thing at a time here. So let's remove that children. We're not going to use that. So remove this here. And let's put, how does this look? Let's see. Something like this. It's going to look like a bit of a mess for a moment. Sorry, folks. Let me clean this up, make it into this.
Nice.
Yeah, that looks pretty nice.
Yeah.
And then we come back here. I'm going to comment all of this out for now, just for clarity for myself. Sorry, one second. All of this out. Clarity. Right. So we would have our we're doing this here. Let me wrap this all in a fragment for now. Might be superfluous. Oh, hold on. If we do this as is, we need to import content. Nothing. No, it should change. No, should it change?
No, it's kind of the same. Like that's basically that fragment from line 11 through whatever just replaces the children, right? Instead of passing it down. Yeah. So I think the question is, where do we want to make decisions, at an architecture level? What makes decisions about the children, right? And that's kind of what we're running into here. Is it the section kind of wrapper component, or is this really, basically a simple component to say your section, what type of section are you, render that, right? Because we could move all of that logic regarding the children into each type of section and let them decide how to render their children. Yeah, that probably makes the most sense rather than have the section try to make too many decisions. It's just like, hey, you're a section, you're a page banner section, here's the data, have fun, right?
Yeah.
Cool. I like this.
Separation of concerns.
Exactly. If we find a lot of similar stuff, which is just like, hey, loop through and render content however it's described by Contentful, we don't need any special logic. We make that into a utility function or something.
Perfect. I'm with you.
Awesome. So I like this a lot. In this case, what we're talking about is adding some additional logic, right? So maybe that if statement right there, if content equals null, it's saying just return it. If you're getting empty content for whatever reason, don't render it. We don't need to worry about it. Maybe we could add an else there, where it's like if content dot something type name, right? And we might want to open up our content photo, or maybe our content wrapper there, just to figure out what that type name is.
This one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Contentful content photo would be. There we go. And now we're going to want to edit the value. We want to set the value. What was it? It was if there's a title, right? So we want to title the stuff in Contentful. We want to remove the title here so it doesn't get rendered.
Gotcha. Content dot. Uh-oh. How do I get that? I guess we can take a look at the content photo. Content.entry.title.
Yeah.
Entry.
With a question mark. And that's a TypeScript thing where it could have an entry or it could be null.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you need the question mark after the title there.
Oh. Here? No.
After.
Huh.
I
think it might be here.
Might be both. Should we go back and take a look at the content photo?
Let's do it.
Okay. So there's a check if content entry is null, then do nothing. And then where do we actually access the title bit? Is that farther down? No, we pull it out there. Okay.
So I guess what we could do is have this here. Here. Content entry and then do the thing. How's that?
Yeah, that seems to proceed with no errors. If the TypeScript's happy, then I'm happy. I
Sounds
wonder if
good.
there's a way to simplify it, because now we're doing two checks for content entry, essentially, right? So that's where I was wondering, with the TypeScript format, can we basically say, like, if there's an entry, set the title to null?
Oh, like up here.
Oh yeah, that's a pretty elegant solution. So yeah, if there's an entry and the type is a contentful content photo, just set the title to null and then let the content photo do its thing.
Perfect.
You know what I like about this is that we just want every page banner image to not have a title, right? Because that's supposed to be kind of a sleek component. This doesn't stop us if we still wanted, for other reasons, to go add a title flag in Contentful, right? We could still do that. And every page banner, it just won't have a title. But for other images, we could still have that flag to turn the titles on or off.
Exactly.
Cool.
I'm with you. Let's refresh. I think we're going to lose our flexbox styling.
Probably.
Which we did.
But we see the title is no longer showing.
Yes.
Nice.
So, whoopsie. So now the question is, how do we get that styling back? Would we need a case statement? Actually, if we use a case statement, Taylor, then that solves our problems of... That lets us apply custom styling to the different flex components.
But we already kind of have that case statement in that content. You see that content section on line 22. So I'm wary of trying to reinvent the wheel. We might have, and the reason why I want to keep everything in these wrappers, like section or like the content component, is that if we go add other types of components, right? I don't want to have to go to the page banner and to the stack and all these other different sections and like have to add those there. I just want to add it in one place. So this is kind of a special case with an exception for a type of content we know about. Would it make sense to...
I'm going to try something here real quick, if I may.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking let's put everything in there as is.
Yeah. That should work.
We are.
Nice.
Cool.
Nice.
And let's see if this is nice on mobile. It should be.
There we go. So we're going to need to set a breakpoint at some point, maybe stack that, right?
Yeah. I'm thinking at this... I'm guessing it would make sense to do it once this burger menu appears.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So let's take a look at that. And here we can see, we should be able to see what size that becomes a burger menu, right? MD. So it's hidden for the MD size.
Mm-hmm.
So I could go here and just say MD flex.
Well, we probably still want it to be flex. We just want it to change, is it horizontal or is it vertical, right?
Ah, okay. So like MD, I actually will have to look up the
Yeah.
Tailwind.
Yeah. If anyone's a Tailwind expert,
yes, please. I think it's column. I mean, what we want to change it to is column. What I don't know what it's called is what it's called in
Oh, flex
so,
direction. Here, I got something. So flex dash call.
perfect.
So we want it to default to a column, right? And then as it gets bigger, because we're going mobile first, as it gets bigger, once it hits that MD breakpoint, then we want it to turn into a row.
Nice. What do you think? I've got it. I think I've got it here.
Fingers crossed.
Let's have a look.
Awesome.
Nice. And if I make it bigger, yeah. Good stuff. I like that. I like that. Do we want this to have a maximum size? Is it too big for mobile, do you reckon?
I think it's okay, honestly. I do want some spacing in between there. So we do have some spacing on the row side. What's going on the column side?
Let's have a look. Gap. Aha.
Nice. So maybe change that to gap 8, since.
Oh, that would be so elegant.
That should work both directions now, right?
Still looks good here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
There we go.
Nice. Nice. Oh, I like that. Wow. Taylor, are we close to having this done?
I think so. Yeah. Let's uncomment the hard-coded stuff and just take a look, see how we're doing with that.
Cool. Will do. I will probably need to wrap that in a fragment, one thing at a time. So uncomment here and add fragment here. So now these should be. Oh,
nope.
We
still had that. Yeah, we can take that bit out of the commented part. Line 28 through 30. You can just nuke the wrapper there too.
Just lose the whole thing?
28 and 29. I think we can lose that.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Nice.
Yeah, of course. That makes sense. Cool.
Great.
Give it another refresh.
There we go.
Yeah, I'd almost say it looks better.
Yeah. That's looking pretty groovy. I know we did some stuff to adjust the image size so it wasn't too large at certain points. So looking at this mobile adjustment now.
Let me. Yeah, because we had a consistent size, didn't we?
Yeah. Now what we might want to do is limit the width of that text, right? Because that text looks better when there's a couple of lines on top of each other. It just gets too wide for the amount of content there. So we might want to set like a max width on that.
And so we'll need to do that on this dynamic content here.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd need, what immediately springs to mind is doing setting a class if it's the first element. The problem is, the problem with that I foresee is that sometimes they'll be the other way around.
Yeah, that's true. I wonder if we can't just do it for all text elements. But I guess that kind of depends on the number of elements there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. What we could do, class name, right, is go with the assumption that we're only going to have one text element. Is that fair?
I think right now, from where I've seen the banners, that is fair. Now, Contentful will let people add as many elements as they want. They could add 20 text elements, but we'll also be looking at this stuff and making sure that it makes sense. So
sure,
that might be something that we could just, for now, assume that there's one text element. And if we need more, we might have to adjust the code to accommodate that. No point in over-engineering at this point.
Yeah. Oh, Yeah, yeah. So what I would do here is have it be let the class be an empty string,
Mm-hmm.
and have an else, continue with the else if here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't know what it's, oh, it's markdown.
Yeah.
And then set the class name to be, and then we just set the class names we want.
Right. Exactly. That's really smart. So just directly limiting um, that wrapper div on the content, and that should be a child of that should be the Flexbox child, because I know that's what I
Exactly.
was wondering, was like, if we're trying to go into like the markup component or the markdown component, right? That's
Yeah.
going to be hard. We don't want to necessarily style things there because that would affect every markdown component. This lets us do it on the wrapper, which is tied to the page banner. That's quite nice.
Yeah.
So we might want to decide just to keep that wrapper clean. I know that we had previously moved all of the font color stuff and like font size to that wrapper. We could move that back down and set those classes in that place.
Makes sense.
There might also be other components in the future. This is where it gets tricky. I'm not sure if this is over engineering or not. If they're future components with text, do we want that at the wrapper level so that all text in this page banner looks the same? Probably, since there's a background color that's set, and so we want to make sure that the text is visible and consistent. Yeah. But that's kind of an interesting consideration. Like, is this the responsibility of the wrapper, or is it the responsibility of each kind of component, or the wrapper based on the type of component? There are different trade-offs, certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll move it back up then. Yeah.
Okay, let's move it back up. But good to think through that stuff. So how do we do some sort of max width here?
I mean, we can do it with the images as well. How did we do it with the images? Can I take a look real quick?
Yeah, that would be in the hard-coded section, right?
Yes, and here it is. So why don't we start by reusing this and also limiting the size of the text?
Yep, that sounds good.
So if I'm not mistaken here, we would also set the class name to be these. It's a good thing we kept those commented parts around because it lets us refer back to it.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, hoping they'll look the same. And they look different because, oh, I know why. Because we got some flex grow going on. No, flex none. That's what I forgot.
There we go.
Thanks for bearing with me.
It's all good.
There we go. Now they should behave identically, which is good.
Yep.
Oh, but it's kind of small.
The bottom one doesn't have the stacking functionality there.
Bottom one doesn't have the. Yeah.
No.
Cool. Okay. So the next thing we need to do is limit the width here, which would be a max width. No. Huh.
Well, probably for the wrapper, we can just set a width for the wrapper based on the breakpoints. But then this is like kind of, at what point are we just uncoding Flexbox, right?
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
Shall we? I mean, let's have another look at it. I think it's actually looking pretty good. Maybe we need more of a gap, Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think so?
1 second.
Sure.
Yeah, we could probably use more of a gap.
That would allow us to use the Flexbox functionality.
Mm-hmm.
Oopsie.
And if we do use max widths here, we could also have Flexbox choose what to do with that space, right? So Flexbox could dynamically, either center everything or do space between the items or space
True.
around the items, and so that would kind of naturally create a gap if we wanted to control the width of these components a bit more.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'm
that
looking at
makes sense.
max width stuff here. So there's a max-w-pros utility, which gives an element a max width optimized for readability and adapts based on the font size. That sounds pretty cool.
So it's max dash W dash
Dash
pros.
pros. Yep.
Interesting. Let's have a look. What I love is how we can compare. Whoa. And this is where you said, okay, now we can justify between.
Yeah, we could justify between, or honestly, I kind of like that. I just want to center it, right, on a really big screen. I don't necessarily want the image and the text to drift farther apart. Do you think if we just center that, leaving our gap in place?
So that would be justify center. Oh, wait. Aha.
There's that. We did the vertical centering last time. Now we want the horizontal set of centering.
Right. I'm just curious.
Yeah. So there's justify dash items dash center.
Like this. I'm just going to try it here.
Okay.
So that didn't do it.
Huh.
And I wonder if it's... I keep coming... There's this one resource that I keep coming back to. Let me just take a quick look here. Column reverse, responsive. Flex direction, order. Flex box and grid. Items center. Let's see where that is. Start center. That's what we've got.
Mm-hmm. That was kind of if the image is larger than the text or not, it'll kind of center them on that secondary axis, which in this case is vertically.
But this isn't the same as justify?
No, justify is the primary axis, so like left versus right.
I see. Justify item center. And that's what we wanted. I wonder why it didn't work. So, folks, if you have an idea in the chat, please do let us know. Sorry.
Yeah. And it should be, because they're definitely not taking up all of that space. What else could be going on? That's margin to the right there as well, right?
Is it? I think that line there is showing
or like empty space.
Yeah, it's showing flex space.
Yeah. Can we actually see then if like what the classes, what the CSS classes that are being applied are? That might tell us if there's a conflict, like the computed styles.
Yeah. Justify item center.
Okay.
That should be good. And we've got two elements inside there. So why aren't they being justified to the center? Could it be the flex none?
Oh, yeah. Maybe try taking... So we might want to leave the max width there, because it might just grow to fill the rest of that space. But take out the flex none specifically.
Justify items center. That's odd. It's odd. Flex. Oh. What happens if I make it smaller? That still looks good. Because this div is filling up.
It's filling up the whole thing, and it's got that padding. Yeah, so it's that content area there, and it's showing us there's extra flex space.
Yeah. And there's two items in here. Max width pros and this one here. PX, PY, font sans. I'm just gonna play around a little bit. It's not like we're losing anything. Okay, that got back up to the top, which is good. Flex call, but it's a flex row because it's bigger. Justify item center. Wait, no. Sorry, I was just gonna say, like, could it be it's not activated? But that's not true because it's here.
Oh, you know what? Is justify items a grid thing? So it might be justify content. Yeah, justify items is for grid. That's very confusing. That's who was in the W3C meeting that decided on names.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
Yep.
Oh wow, good call. Good call.
Oh. So probably justify content. Oh, that worked.
Yeah.
Huh.
Nice.
Now, how is that working? Because on justify center is setting justify. Yep.
So that's the one. That's a good call, Taylor.
Nice.
So that's justify center. That should do it.
Yep.
I refresh.
There we go. That looks awesome. And I really love how Tailwind just has that natural kind of reading width, which is what we were trying to do. We weren't trying to make it too long or too short. It'll set that max width right there, and we don't really have to worry about it now.
That's brilliant. So if I make it super large, it's just going to stay there. It's going to shrink the image a little. And then once it's too big, it'll toss it down to the bottom.
Now, maybe we don't need it that small. We were doing that before because we wanted it to stay as a banner. But maybe we can kind of say the smallest it'll get is that 48 size. And then if it's large, we can bump it up one.
Like that.
Yeah.
Sense? Yeah, pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice. That's looking groovy.
Awesome. Let's start readying this for a commit. And I think, Taylor, I think we've done it. I think we're ready to.
You deleted one extra div there, so we just have to close that div at the bottom. And then let's not forget we kind of wrote a function down below for that SVG. Let's go ahead and get rid of that at this point too.
Yes. I think this. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, let's delete this world map. We're done.
There we go.
Wow.
So one more time just to make sure it all looks good.
That's a good call.
Oh, I love it.
Brilliant.
Awesome. So next time, now that we have this completed here, I think we got to do the social icons on the right-hand side, but that might be a different thing. I'm not sure if that belongs in the banner or if that's supposed to scroll with the page. But we can set up the banner component. We should just be able to add another banner section to a different page on Contentful, and boom, there it is with no more coding.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I'm going to go ahead and commit this, and I think we can mark this pull request as ready, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, we've got about 10 minutes. We could even maybe review and merge.
Sure.
Oh, that's exciting. So this is a feature, integrate and style image. Style image, improve banner layout.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Sounds great.
Cool. That's committed. Origin feature 33. So one last thing we got to do for our workflow here is create a code C so that you can have so that the reviewer can have an overview of what takes place here. Is that right?
Yep. So let's definitely get a code C just to capture that content flow. That way, I mean, I know what's going on, but if someone else were to review this,
Yeah.
they can jump into that context.
So that's
So
done.
don't forget to make it public if we're posting it on GitHub, because everything's open source, it's distributed, it can all be public.
Thank you. I would have forgotten.
Yep.
DA landing, mission banner.
Page banner, I think we decided to call it in the end.
Yeah. Good call.
Cool.
Go on GitHub. Distribute it, and we'll create. Do we have a pull request for this?
I don't think so. I think we've just been working off the branch based on that issue.
Oh, nice. Cool. So let's call this page banner component.
Mm-hmm.
This aims to implement and what is the issue?
It was 33, I thought.
Oh yeah, of course. It's in the name of the branch. My bad. This aims to implement to resolve 33 by adding a dynamic page banner component. Content provided through content. Code C recording of finished rendering. Oopsie. See, I can just make this a link. Finished rendering. Does that cover everything?
Yeah, I think it does. So we linked it back to the issue there.
Yep.
And we linked it to the code C. So we can go ahead and create that pull request. And if you could assign it to me, Ramon.
Let's do it.
Sweet.
So we're going to see some stuff go on automatically here.
Mm-hmm. And we should see that code C map showing us.
I'm very excited.
GIF, right?
Yeah. Very excited about that. And I think, I don't know, I think I can announce this. We've actually, so our engineers have been working on making these pull request maps, these map diffs, this PR diffs, dynamic. So they're no longer just images, but also interactive. That's
super cool.
And more coming from there that I'm very excited, but I have to be tight-lipped about. Yeah, so hopefully we'll see that soon. So every time, so one of the things that CodeC Maps does, there it is. There it is. Okay, cool. Yeah, so we can see here a pull request diff. We can see which pages were which files were added, which were edited, and which were removed. So we didn't remove any, but we've added a new one, and we can see their interactions and dependencies there. We've added a social container as well. And we've modified the Tailwind config. And if I'm not mistaken, let's open up this one. I'm actually trying this live for the first time. Oh no, that's just the ability to see all of my maps.
Okay. It doesn't jump you to that map.
Maybe this is a link to it. Nope, that's just the image. I should have checked with the team.
It's okay.
All good. Yeah, more on that later. Yeah, so I guess that's ready for you to review. Taylor, do you want me to pass the baton to you?
Sure thing. I mean, I think I'm just gonna fast track this one because I've been with you the entire time. So I might just
fair.
use my admin images. We still got to get some of these checks going. I'm not sure why the builds and stuff is probably a permissions thing with Contentful. So
maybe that's something we can pair on.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that would be ensemble.
Right, that would be cool. So I'm going to use my administrator privileges to merge this PR without waiting for that thing, which we'll do next week. And I'll squash and merge it.
Cool.
Yep. So we have, and what I like about the squash and merge with these conventional commits, right? It'll just show the quick commit message for each one of those. So we still get like a full view of what's going on. I don't need to edit the entire merge message. But yeah, you'll see in a minute here. It's being merged. Great.
Awesome.
Woohoo.
Nice. High five, everybody.
We did it. How do we get you credit for the Hacktober with this one?
I think it's done automatically. Did I set this as a... No. Okay, I think... Let's have a look. I haven't done this in a while. So if we go to Hacktoberfest, I think the way it works is you would need to resources.
I need set to, that pull request an issue with them.
Yeah, I think you need to add a label to that, if I'm not mistaken. Maintainers. Here we go. A pull request can be approved either by giving it an overall approving review from maintainers or by merging the pull request or adding the Hacktoberfest accepted label. So if you add that, I will very gratefully get a pull request tick box. Oh, looks like I might have lost Taylor. I hope not. Just when I'm going to get my cool stuff. My Hacktoberfest. Oh, there you are. Sorry about Taylor. That. Oh, good. Oh, good. Just lost you for a second. Did you catch what I said?
No, it was right at the exciting part. I was waiting in suspense the whole time. So
no.
Adding a label.
Yeah, you need to add the Hacktoberfest accepted label. This one here.
Okay.
Here, I'll paste it in the private chat.
Awesome. So I'm gonna go to your PR. Do you know how to add labels to PRs on GitHub?
Yeah, I think page banner component. If you go to the pull request itself, and here on the right, you'll see labels.
There we go. Okay. So I can edit labels and I can add a new type of label. So
yeah.
I just copied that in.
In the meantime, I can take a look at my Hacktoberfest and see if it shows up.
So I'm just setting up the label like as a thing in the repo.
Mm-hmm.
So I created that, and now I'm going to the PR and page banner component. I will add that as a label. There we go.
So that should show up.
Yep.
And one thing I'll do as well, if folks are interested in contributing to Distribute Aid, is I will change the about, if I may. Can I do that? I don't think I can. Oh, I don't think I have access to that, Taylor. But if you if you go to the about section and add the topic Hacktoberfest, then people's pull requests should automatically get processed as well.
Awesome. So the topic, just Hacktoberfest, capital H, up there, it's popping up automatically.
Oh, actually, let me do a quick screen share if I may. Oh, wait, I'm already screen sharing. You will need to add that topic. So let me give me.
I just did that to the top level repo on GitHub.
Share screen. So I just got to share a different window, which is this one. So what you'll see here is like the pull requests that are being processed. And there you can see I've submitted page banner component to distributeaid.org. And there it says project not participating. So add the Hacktoberfest. So if I refresh, I guess it should show up. And if not, it will later.
It will later. Let's check in on that next time. But
yeah, no stress.
Check that the project's set up. Go to ossport.com. Go find the Distribute Aid landing site. we're going to get more issues for Hacktoberfest up, and we'll take screenshots of our Figma or link to it. But we would love all your help and participation. I'm really glad we got this one in, Ramon. We've been working on that for a while, and it ended up being super smooth at the end, how everything fit together.
I loved it, folks. Thank you so much. And see you next time. We'll be back. I'll see you on Thursday, Taylor. Sorry, on Tuesday, Taylor, if you'd like to join with Maxime, and if not, I'll see you latest on Thursday.
Yeah, it sounds good. I will let you know about next Tuesday, but definitely next Thursday. We'll see y'all back here.
Good. Take care, everybody. Have a good one.